Okay, let it go.
For most athletes, defeat and victory are elemental parts of the design of any career. You have not experienced a loss, I believe, in some 8 years. Does that alter in any way your concept of competitiveness or competition?
I think it probably enhances it, and I use the fact that I have been winning in order to enhance it even more.
Your event, the 400-meter hurdle run, challenges you to generate both speed and endurance. Does this mean that in that event you are overcoming more than other runners? The concept of time, concept of defeating pain.
Well, I get there first. That's the main point of running the race, and I work hard in order to win the race. So it's hard to tell how much pain another guy feels, but the race itself is very strenuous, and you have to overcome a certain amount of pain in order to be able to compete at the world-class level.
At the world-class level in this event, of course, you probably combine, or would you say that you combine speed and endurance perhaps more than in any other athletic event?
I think so. In terms of using it in the 400 hurdles, it's definitely an advantage to have both the speed and the power, and I've been able to mesh the two together and put together a good race much more effectively than the other competitors.
If a champion in your field can be described as someone who refuses to quit when the body and perhaps the spirit advise you to do so, how does that determination become regenerated over and over again? How do you drive yourself?
Well, I love track and field, number one, and that's probably the main motivation. It's difficult to get out there on some days, and other days it's easier to get out there, but the challenge of wanting to run and compete internationally is what really keeps me out there.
Let me know in the comments, what is the definition of champion to you?
Could you tell us anything about the coaching in the early part of your career? Did it coincide with your own inclinations as an athlete, or did you have to be guided, moved in certain directions?
Actually, most of my coaching was not really correlated toward 400 hurdles or hurdles in general. In fact, I never really had a coach that was really a specialist in hurdles. And throughout my career, since high school, I always tend to really push myself and want to be competitive and want to be able to get out there and train every day. And that also occurred at Morehouse College, where I went to school. We didn't have a big program, but the guys that were there had the initiative to train on their own. And we developed programs for each other, and we worked out hard together.
You're the son of educators. Did they have an influence on you going to Morehouse, which of course is a center of learning?
Yeah, my dad wanted me to go to Morehouse, and I remember doing a book report in the 4th grade on Martin Luther King, so I was aware of Morehouse College at a young age. And I didn't want to go to a large school, and the only other school I applied for was Ohio State, which was a massive school compared to Morehouse.
Can you tell us a little bit about your experience as a competitive athlete at Morehouse? As you say, they did not have a big program. Did you have to compete more as an individual than as a member of a team there?
A lot of it was individual. We went through a few transitions where we were switching coaches, and during the interim we had to get out there on our own. And that's what we had to do. And track and field with sports in general was low budget at Morehouse. And the emphasis was placed on academics at that school. And to compete in sports, you really had to want to be a sportsman and want to get out there and take the challenge and do it yourself.
Would you say in that case, in the instance of going to a place like Morehouse, you were left largely to design your own future as an athlete?
That's right. That's right. And also, I enjoyed running track because it was an escape from academics for me, and I really didn't plan on being an Olympian, or really didn't have the idea in my mind until 1976. And actually what happened was that I had an opportunity to make the Olympic trials, the qualifying standard, and I trained for it, and I did.
In 1970, we interviewed Evelyn Ashford this afternoon, and she said that she felt the 1976 Olympics for her were somewhat more exciting, somewhat more important in her personal view than the '84 Olympics. I wonder if you'd comment on that.
Well, the '76 games for me were much more of a challenge because I was just beginning to be world class and everything was new, and the excitement was really there versus the 1984 games when it's been 8 years. We missed the boycotted Olympics in 1980, and it turned out to be a lot more business oriented than it did the excitement of that some of the younger athletes may have experienced. So it was a different type of games, but the intensity must be there in order to go in and win.
People know so much about Edwin Moses in this event at 400-meter hurdles. Who are the other people in the world who you would consider top athletes in this particular event?
Well, they are definitely there. Most people feel that, and it's probably from lack of knowledge of the other competitors, most people feel that there isn't any competition out there for me, but the event itself is very competitive, and it takes a lot of energy to go out there and continually win. And the other guys are there. Danny Harris won the silver medal in 1984 in the games. Andre Phillips has run under 48 seconds, one of the other two men that are still competitive that has done that. Trinell Hawkins, who's from my hometown, is still competing, and David Patrick, and also Harold Smith from West Germany, who was the last guy that defeated me in '77. So those are the nucleus of the competitors in the event.
If you were to stop competing tomorrow, there is a clear possibility that what you have achieved in this event might never be equal, matched. What is left for you to achieve in your athletic life?
Well, I would still want to get out there and win. I'd like to be able to make it to another Olympic Games. I still would like to continue to run on a yearly basis and travel and participate.
Let's go back a little bit in time, Edwin Moses, to Edwin as a youngster. Were there, or was there, a champion in your life, athletic or non-athletic, whom you particularly admired when you were growing up?
Well, there were quite a few. Of course, everybody remembers Muhammad Ali, and in terms of track and field, in my event, there was John Akibor, who was my predecessor, and 4 years before the Olympic Games that I participated in, I saw him run and win, but I had no idea that I would be the next world record holder in that event. So I just looked up at him in terms of my event and my career in track and field.
You've been quite outspoken in a number of instances about the world of international track. And without leading or guiding or putting words in your mouth, is there something that you feel must be changed at this time in the world of international athletics generally, but particularly in the world of track? Are there changes that are going to have to be made if track is to continue be an event that maintains a certain integrity, that people will come out and see and feel that they are getting their money's worth or their excitement's worth?
Well, the sport is doing pretty good right now, and a lot has changed in the last 4 years. The amateur rules have changed a lot and allowed us to be able to earn money, compete over a longer span of time. Now you have people that are able to think in terms of 2 and 3 Olympic Games versus 2 and 3 years. And what probably is going to have to change is that the athletes are going to need more protection in the future. Most of the athletes operate with very little protection and not very good sound advice, so that's probably going to need to change.
I wonder if you could expand on that. Protection from what?
Well, amateur athletes are competing in track and field. People are beginning to make money, but a lot of the athletes are not taking a professional point of view towards it, and we don't have the protection from the people in the International Federation and some of the meet organizers, and that's going to need to be changed.
I've read, I guess I should say, that there is a harmful effect being placed on many amateur athletes, professional athletes, I suppose, too, from the use of drugs, steroids, and other kinds of drugs. What can be done about that? I mean, is it something the athletes have to police themselves, or is there going to have to be an imposition of tighter regulations from the governing bodies of sport?
Well, the regulations are there, and the athletes are going to have to demand that it is policed more heavily. I think that the athletes are responsible for that themselves. If they want to have a sport that's relatively drug-free, then it's going to have to be the athletes that take the initiative.
How much of that do you think is being done now? I know you've spoken out about it. You've been very public in your view. Are there other athletes who are doing the same? Do you think enough is being done, or what more will have to be done, let us say, before the next Olympics?
Well, the Olympic Committee has the drug testing program, and there are meets that are tested in track and field on a continual basis. So the rules and regulations are there. The enforcement is going to have to be very stringent in order to really change it and make it a lot better.
I think we're just what we could come and just pick up at that. Okay, go. Speed.
No.
Edwin Moses, we're talking about the problem that has been publicized, perhaps too much, the use of drugs by athletes, particularly internationally competitive athletes. In your view, is this a problem that is there cause for alarm right now, do you think?
I think the cause for alarm is the fact that the younger athletes are beginning to use more drugs in the case of track and field, and it's basically anabolic steroids and growth hormone and things of that nature. And a lot of the kids are using them coming out of high school because they want to get bigger and they want to become better. And the temptation is always there, and it seems as though it always will be there. And we've tried drug education programs. We tried by bringing the problem out. But I think the problem within itself is only going to be solved when the athletes themselves stand up and say, we don't want our sport to be this way.
In your life as a champion, is there an event or perhaps even a moment that's particularly memorable for you?
Well, winning the Olympic Games in '76 definitely was. And in 1983, the World Championships was a big moment for me because I had been injured in '82 and had come back. And also the Olympic Games in '84, and also each of the world records that I have managed to run. But probably more important is just the lifestyle that I live because of my participation in track and field, and that's probably as enjoyable and as important as all the records and all the big races.
Tell us a little bit about that. I'm sure one of the things that involves a great deal of travel.
Yeah, we get to travel quite a bit, my wife and I, all over the world, and I've been to just about the entire globe because of track and field, and most people don't get that opportunity to travel the way that we do, and it's continuous, and I could travel all year long if I really desired to, but I really try to stay at home certain times of the year so I can do my training.
In 1976, the event, I wonder if you would, perhaps, we're going to show that, we're going to show footage of that. I wonder if you could describe in any way, particularly for people who are not as familiar with that event as perhaps some of the others, something about how it progresses. We've talked about the fact that you've got to maintain speed, which I think most people can understand, but you have to maintain speed against rather demanding physical odds against yourself. Is there any way you can share with people, is there any way where people understand that perhaps a little bit better?
I could send everybody out to run a quarter and then they'll understand, run 400 meters, but the event is very tough. It consists of 10 hurdles and they're 36 inches high and they're spread out 35 meters around the track. And the race is tough because when you get tired, the hurdles are still there and it seems as though they get higher.
We have asked all of the people who participated in this program a question. We get a variety of answers, and of course we're going to ask you how you would complete the sentence that begins to be a champion. And I would appreciate if you would say those words and then finish it in your own way, to be a champion.
Well, to be a champion, it takes a lot of courage and a lot of work probably more work than courage, but it takes the courage to be able to do the work. And it takes a person who's not going to quit, and a person who's going to keep going when things are very bad, and hopefully things will get better. I would have never become an Olympic champion and world record holder had I quit at any point in time, because the training was very, very difficult, and I had all the excuses in the world to not go to training and not run hard almost every day. And the only reason that I really became a champion was because I stayed in the sport longer than a lot of other guys that I ran with, and I worked harder, and I was fortunate enough to be blessed with the talent and the physical body and the spiritual essence in order to continue to do that.
William has left the room. Well, I think we got it. Okay.
Who would you like for me to do a video on next? What are your thoughts about this video? Please share them in the comments. Please be honest when answering these questions. Share this video with anyone you deem necessary. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.